Well, we were operating at on Mindoro Island, south of Luzon. We had been there since New Year's Eve, so we'd been there 11 days, 12 days. And on the 11th, on the 10th actually, there was a group of strange P-51s arrived, and they happened to be some old friends of some of our members. And they had been stuck in the United States as instructors for 2 years. And they had turned them loose and sent them over in combat. And they formed a unit called an Air Commando Group. And they had 3 squadrons of P-51s and 1 squadron of C-46s to fly them around in. And they had just arrived in theater. And a few of them had flown over to, they were, I think, in Leyte or somewhere east of us, not far, but several of them had flown over to visit because they heard they had some old friends there. So Major SHOMO, our squadron commander, agreed to take them on a combat mission the next day. So we had 2 scheduled up in the Luzon area. And I took one of them, and SHOMO took the other one. And he took 6 of their pilots, and himself and Lieutenant Lipscomb, the sea flight commander. That made 8 people and 2 flights of 4. So since we were the host there, we were leading both flights, and SHOMO and Lipscomb were leading the 2 flights. Their mission was to go up the coastline and check the airfields for targets of opportunity or whatever they could find, all the way up to the north end of Luzon to the tip called Perry, A-P-A-R-R-I. And my mission, which departed about the same time, was to go inland at Manila and go up the valley there to the Tarlac area and see what was there, and then go into the Baguio Pass area because there'd been a lot of activity up there recently. And you have to remember, this was 5 days before the invasion at Lingayen. So there was a lot of activity there. And we were to meet SHOMO's group on the north end of the island after we finished ours and swap information and then swap routes. He was to take our route back and I was to take his route coming up back. Well, we just before rendezvous, he called, and we must have been 20 miles apart. I don't know how far, but I was at Tugue Guerrero, which is south of Aperia, and he called, and I said that we had had a lot of activity. We had shot a lot of things, and we were out of ammunition and low on fuel, and I had to take the guys home directly. And he said, "That's okay. We didn't see a damn thing, but we'll go back the way we came. Maybe something will show up." And about that time, the Navy boss, Carrier, who was controlling the invasion, communications-wise, told us to get off that channel, had priority traffic. So I switched my flight's channel to, I don't know what, some other channel. And we left, and we were down about 1,500 feet under some low stuff at the time. And I climbed up through all this garbage, weather type stuff, and broke out about 9,000 feet. Well, just after that, SHOMO and Lipscomb ran into this gaggle of 14 airplanes. And that story you've heard, and that all occurred right there. And they were screaming and carrying on and calling us too. And of course, we didn't hear them because we'd switched channels on the radio. But even if we'd heard them, we couldn't have helped them anyway because we were out of ammo and gasoline. So all in all, that didn't really matter. So as I topped out of the overcast, there were 12 fighters and a Betty bomber above me headed south, the same way we were going. And the 4 closest to me, they were at about a 3,000 foot altitude advantage on us. They dove on us, and I dove away, and wide open, the 51 that will really move, and we dove away, and I swapped altitude for airspeed, and time I redlined it, I hauled it back up into them, and they pulled away, and that was kind of strange. They just pulled away, and I said, well, I can't do anything anyway, but I was going to give them one shot, so. But the bomber had just continued straight ahead. It never even moved. So I told my flight, I said, well, hell, we have to go home, so let's follow the bomber, and since he's headed in our direction, see if we can shoot it down. So I got my wingman to fly real close. We had 50 rounds per gun of the inboards left because in a P-51, the two inboards held 50 more rounds of ammunition than the outboards, the 4 outboards. And we always stopped firing when we got to that point to save a little ammo to come home with. And so we had that 100 rounds each to shoot, which is about like that. So anyway, I said, I'm going to pull up under him at a pretty good rate of speed, and we're going to have one shot at him. And you fly tight formation, and when I shoot, you shoot. And we shot the stupid thing down. It was amazing. We didn't think it'd work. But, well, it bailed off smoking. The guy in the tail gun was shooting at us, and the turret gun was shooting at us. But didn't hit us. So we cruised on home, and my element lead, which is number 3, his name's Lieutenant Havel, he said, Buddy, they call me Buddy. That was from Lipscomb. He nicknamed me Buddy. I'm not going to make it. I'm going to run out of gas. I said, oh, shucks. I said, all right, come get on my wing. And so I throttled back to what I thought was the most efficient cruise setting on both power and RPM. And I had him synchronize his settings with me. And we began a long, slow glide home from about 10,000 feet. And it looked pretty good. We were getting closer and closer, and we could see the base. And his engine finally quit, I don't know, 10, 15 miles out. And we were at 7,000 feet. So I just chopped everything off too, and we came down still in formation, and gear still up, flaps up, and about 1,500 feet I saw that we were going to make it. So I told him to drop the gear and hit full flaps, and he did, and he went in right dead stick right on the end of the runway. And I pulled up and went around, and we all landed after him with our gauges whacking the empty. And just as we taxied in and shut down, here comes SHOMO and Lipscomb, and they're rolling and rolling and rolling and carrying on, and everybody's yelling, what are they doing rolling over right over the airstrip? They were low, too. It just disrupted everything. They were rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. I said, well, that's a victory roll if you ask me. So, but we learned later about this escapade, but we didn't know anything about it at the time, not a thing, and we were that close to the whole thing. But all in all, a pretty good day for the 82nd.
Yeah.
Okay.